Hi guys, welcome to today's session. So we're going to be carrying on with this pet portrait that we started last week with this wash drawing. It's going to be, I'm going to get pretty quickly into it, but the materials list is in the bottom in the description of the video, so you can check that out. I'll be kind of talking about what I'm using as I'm going, just to save time. So it's good to get going on these videos. So what I'm doing at the moment is I've got some medium, which is a mixture of mineral spirits and oil, at about a kind of 1/4 oil to 3/4 mineral spirits. You can use any sort of solvent. I'm just going to brighten up a little bit. See you guys there, that's a bit better. Yeah, I'm just oiling that in so that the burnt umber is a bit more saturated. It's not crucial. Pigments I'm using are black, titanium white, raw umber, burnt umber, Cad Yellow, Cad Red, which should give you enough range to work on this piece. So one of the first things I want to do is just start patching in some of these darker tones, almost with a kind of glaze, so some slightly diluted black paint. So where the painting's really dark, so her shoulder over here is quite dark. Down the bottom there, it'll probably start to taper a bit more into kind of burnt umber. Center of her snout here is quite dark. A bit around her nose as well. It's quite dark around her eyes, but I'll leave that for when we get to a smaller brush. Ear in here is quite dark. So anywhere I can kind of get in, and this provides enough detail, I can drop in some black. And then also the background behind. So one thing we talked about last week a bit was how we've got these background shapes, they kind of border and define her face a bit. And there's also a point here where pretty much we lose the snout there into the dark shadow behind. And then we get a nice kind of popping out of tone. Well, we're going to get a nice kind of bright tone of the lighter tones start to emerge out of or next to this very dark tone here. So that's not too bad. I'm going to pick up myself a smaller brush to work with. I'm going to go super tiny. I've got a sort of small-ish brush, so it's kind of, you can see it's quite medium sized. That first one I was using, and then a small sort of round. It's not me going in for like tiny details this week. We'll do that in subsequent lessons. So I just want to go in and kind of notch any of these other smaller details of black. And I'm going to swap now to some burnt umber with a little bit of Cad Red mixed in, just to kind of start blocking in these not quite black dark tones. And I'm very loose again this week, so I'm not doing anything too detailed still. It's a bit too light, that tone, so we're back to some that umber. I might just swap to just some black, a little bit of white, and block in. In the original, it's a bit more of a kind of bluish colour, but I'm just going to make up a kind of bluish grey using burnt umber and black and ivory white. So primary concern with this stage, just today, is just blocking in the basic tones, not developing anything to be super detailed, just getting more of the colours in place basically. So we're just trying to get all the necessary colours blocked in. So I've got a little bit more of the background blocked in there. Most of the shadows kind of nicely, or reasonably nicely done. So I'm going to swap now to going for some dark halftones. So for the dark halftones, we're going to start with some sort of lightish, a little bit more yellow than that, so maybe a bit more cad yellow. Kind of lightish yellow grey here. It's working its way across the shoulder. It's going to start getting lighter and whiter. a bit of white and some cad yellow mixed in for this chest. Chest goes really bright, kind of glowing bright. We'll be developing it a lot more in subsequent sessions. Just want to get that kind of rough value in place. So also mix up a bit of a kind of darker grey-black colour, just to get a little bit of a kind of chroma shift with some of these half tones. So it's not all warm, there's also some kind of greyish notes, which we'll be elaborating down the line. So I'm just putting some greys in to kind of almost make a note to myself for how we can develop it as it progresses. Yeah, that's not too bad, I don't think. Yeah, I think that's getting there for how much detail we need just at this stage. In that chest, we'll be developing it more. Oh, actually, there's a little bit just here. I can maybe pop kind of more orangey notes there just for future. Yeah, the rest of it's looking all right. So then getting into the snout, got a bit more stuff going on there, but I've got a lot of the colours I'm going to use already on my palette. So I can just start kind of picking things that I see there and patching them on where I think they should go. Just want the snout to be a little bit more kind of reddish orangey rather than yellow. Those are the sort of main shifts that we've got running through it. So you can see it's just being sort of generally patched on and stitched together, just in anticipation or kind of ready for developing it in this next sessions. There's a little bit like I've gone a bit too far over on this brow. I think it's going to need to be knocked back a bit, that black behind, but we'll do that in a moment. So now there are also more kind of greyish colours in the snout, so sort of around her muzzle starts to get a bit greyer. Mix up some slightly lighter grey as well, just to go through the front of the snout here. I'm sort of blurring my eyes as I do it, so if you look kind of closely, there's not a great deal of detail. But if you sort of blur your eyes, you want it to kind of start to merge together. That's not too bad. I'm just going to pop up back up to these snout tones. Oh, actually, the ear has some greyish parts to it as well. Kind of the inside of the ear goes quite greyish. The greys are really easy, as I said, they're just black and titanium white. Which is a very underrated combinations of tone, a combination to be using for pretty much any painting, to be honest. It's really useful. Black tends not to get used. People actually kind of get actively discouraged from using it, which I would never say. Yeah, maybe some slightly softer transitions out of the shadow on this side of the face, and I think we're probably just about done. So just pop a tiny highlight on that eye as well. Oh yeah, the last thing I was going to do was just brush a little bit of a rinse. Take a lot of a darker tone and just reshape this. Behind this eyebrow, because I feel like it was protruding up a little bit too far, felt to me. Yeah, I think we'll be leaving it just like that for today. So you got a lot done, kind of quite a lot blocked in. So we can go in next week when it's all kind of dried. We're working over the top and just starting to refine stuff with smaller brushes. But we've got a sense of the light already, which is really good. That's what you always want at this stage. This is dead colouring. It doesn't actually look too dead, it's quite lively. And as I say, the colours that I used are in the description below. And as always, you can subscribe to the channel. I recommend subscribing if you want to kind of keep up to date with this and other videos, other lessons that we do, and interviews and so on. And you can also click the link through to see what sort of qualifications we offer, what kind of paid courses we offer as well. So yeah, that's it, and I'll see you guys soon.